Sage Donovan's happiest moments were spent drifting above the Grand Valley in her rainbow-striped hot air balloon, Pas de Deux, counting the sunlit folds of the book cliffs and waving down at peach orchards like a proper small-town heroine. She offered sunrise flights out of Palisade, Colorado, followed by thermos coffee and Palisade peach muffins at the landing site. Tourists came for the scenery. Locals came for Sage's laughter, which crackled like clear mountain air. So the sheriff's visit on a windy Tuesday felt as out of place as snow in August. Sheriff Emmett Callahan found Sage on the gravel lot behind her barn-turned hangar, where Pas de Deux lay in a giant canvas sausage, waiting for its next dawn inflation. His wide-brimmed hat shaded hazel eyes that looked tired, not accusing. Still, Sage rubbed grease from her palms and braced herself. "Morning, Sheriff. You look like a man rehearsing bad news." Emmett sighed. "I wish it were only bad news. It's baffling news. Mind if we talk inside?" Inside the barn, fumes of propane and the tang of ripening apples mingled. Sage kicked aside a crate of spare burners and gestured toward the folding table she called her office. Emmett laid a tablet on it, opened a map dotted with color-coded squiggles, and tapped the screen. "Recognize these?" She squinted. The routes were purple, overlaid on satellite imagery of the valley. They began at her property, arced north into the mesa country, then dipped toward the open range of Cottonwood Ranch before returning home. Round trip, about 20 miles, exactly Pas de Deux's comfortable range when carrying nothing but wind and stars. "Looks like my GPS," she admitted. "Except I've never flown at night, and certainly not this week. I've been grounded after 10 a.m. since that inversion layer moved in." Emmett pinched a zoom. "These tracks are stamped between midnight and 2 a.m., 3 nights running." Sage folded her arms. "That's impossible. I sleep like a rock. Also, I'd have noticed someone hauling a 75-foot envelope and wicker basket out to the launch meadow. It's not a ninja endeavor." Emmett turned the tablet around. 9 calves missing from Cottonwood Ranch. Their security cameras went offline at 12:15 Sunday, right as your tracker shows you overhead. Monday, another 5. Last night, 4 more. Hank Cottonwood thinks you're airlifting them." Sage burst out laughing. "With what? Mary Poppins' carpet bag? Even if I slung a cargo net, those calves weigh 200 pounds each. My balloon couldn't get off the ground with that load." The sheriff didn't smile. "It's not just the Cottonwoods. The Eppersons lost goats. Mrs. Villaseña's 4-H lamb vanished. Folks are spooked. Your GPS logs put you at every scene, and rumors fly faster than balloons." Sage's cheeks flushed hot. "Someone spoofed my tracker or stole it." "Maybe. I'm asking everyone to keep calm while we figure this out. In the meantime, double-check your equipment, lock up tight, and call me if you see anything strange." After he left, Sage clicked on the GPS receiver screwed under her instrument panel. The LED blinked sluggishly, low battery. She popped the SD card. The newest files indeed bore midnight timestamps. A chill rippled through her flight suit. Someone had powered up her tracker and taken it on a joyride, exactly long enough to frame her. But why? And how did calves disappear without tire tracks or broken fences? Hot air balloons were noisy when burners roared. Ranch dogs would bark their heads off. Sage fired off a group text to her 2 best friends, Rowan Kim, a physics teacher with a hobbyist's brain, and Jazz Hightower, owner of Hightower Bakery, purveyor of the town's flakiest croissants. "Need brains and pastries ASAP. Possible balloon-related crime. Meet hangar 4 p.m. Rowan arrived first, helmet hanging from his bike handlebars. You look like someone stole your altitude, he said. Jazz followed, bearing a pink box dotted with butter stains. Comfort carbs, she announced. Over apple turnovers, Sage relayed the sheriff's story. Rowan's eyebrows climbed. GPS spoofing's child's play if you know the basics, but borrowing your device makes framing cleaner. But the livestock, Jazz mused. You can't exactly hog-tie calves in a sky basket. Rowan tapped the table. Maybe they didn't. What if the balloon's a decoy, like a magician's misdirection? While everyone stares at the sky, the real thieves load a trailer on the ground. Sage shook her head. Why risk stealing my tracker? And why pick on me? Because you've got the only aircraft folks see regularly, Jazz said. Blame falls naturally. Sage huffed. Lovely. My livelihood depends on reputation. She pulled out her flight log. I performed annual maintenance last Thursday. Anyone could have come by. The padlock on the side door's been finicky. Rowan perked up. Let's set a trap. Tonight, we watch the hangar. If someone sneaks in, we'll know. Jazz paled. I am a baker, not a ninja. You're also the most caffeinated woman in Palisade, Sage reminded her. They planned shifts, Rowan from 10 to midnight, Jazz until 2, Sage till dawn. Rowan borrowed Sage's spare key and left to rig a motion-activated camera. The night air was crisp, the moon a tarnished coin. Rowan texted at 11:30. Nothing but raccoon drama. Jazz took over, armed with espresso shots. At 2:15, Sage's phone buzzed her awake. Motion alert. She raced to the barn in fleece pajama bottoms, boots unlaced. Inside, the red beam of Rowan's camera danced across dust motes. Jazz crouched behind a propane tank, eyes wide. Sage whispered, What did you see? Door creaked. Someone outside. Heavy steps. Then silence. Sage eased the side door open. A faint figure jogged down the access road, carrying something rectangular the size of a shoebox. Hey! She yelled. The figure bolted across the meadow towards a parked pickup. Taillights flared, engine growled, and the truck peeled away, spitting gravel. Back inside, Sage found an empty bracket where her fuel gauge usually sat. Screws glinted on the floor. They're stripping instruments, she murmured. Why steal a cheap analog gauge? Rowan appeared minutes later, breathless from pedaling over. He replayed the camera footage. Grainy night vision showed a stocky figure in coveralls fiddling under the instrument panel before Sage's doors slammed open. No clear face, Rowan said, frustrated. But look at the patch on his sleeve. Maybe a company logo? Jazz leaned in. Looks like a winged cow. Sage frowned. That's Cottonwood Ranch's brand. HC inside spread wings. Rowan whistled. So Hank Cottonwood's people are sabotaging your balloon? That's bold. Sage shook her head. Or someone wants us to think that. Emmett arrived after sunrise. He photographed the missing gauge bracket and took the video file. I'll talk to Hank, he promised. In the meantime, Sage, ground yourself. If instruments keep disappearing, your balloon's not airworthy. Sage's stomach twisted. Sunrise flights paid her mortgage. A week of cancellations could sink her season. Rowan squeezed her shoulder. We'll solve this first. Back at Hightower Bakery, they claimed a corner booth. Jazz slid over a cinnamon roll the size of a steering wheel. Brain fuel, she declared. Sage picked at the frosting. Let's list facts. 1. Livestock vanish overnight. 2. My GPS logs fake balloon flights at the same times. 3. Someone steals my instruments and leaves Cottonwood's logo in plain sight. Too plain, Rowan said. Classic red herring. Suppose the real thief wants the sheriff harassing Hank, so ranchers argue among themselves. Who benefits? Jazz asked. Rowan pulled up county property records on his tablet. There's been chatter about a solar farm using open rangeland. Investors need ranches to sell. If herds disappear, profits plummet, motivation to sell increases. Sage blinked. You think a developer's scaring ranchers by staging phantom balloon raids? It's a theory. Rowan tapped again. Blue Basin Renewables filed exploratory permits last month. Guess whose address matches the pickup plate I traced from last night's dashcam? Rowan, Sage gaped. You got the plate? Lucky reflection from their bumper in your security light. Registered to 1 Grant Pike, project manager, Blue Basin Renewables. Jazz slapped the table. So Pike frames Sage, stirs rancher panic, and later swoops in with buyout offers. Sage's hope flickered. We need proof. Rowan grinned. I suggest airborne reconnaissance. She stared. You heard the sheriff. I'm grounded. Not you, Rowan replied. Us. That evening, Rowan hauled a 10-foot helium weather balloon from his garage, an experiment he used teaching atmospheric pressure. They attached a GoPro and a lightweight GPS beacon Jazz borrowed from her cousin's search and rescue unit. They christened it Bagel in honor of bakery sponsorship. We'll launch from the ridge west of Cottonwood Ranch, Rowan said. If Pike's crew stages another theft, Bagel's camera catches them from above. Sage crossed her fingers. And we pray Bagel doesn't drift into DIA airspace. They launched at 9 p.m. The silver sphere rose silently, LED blinks winking like a star. Rowan monitored on his laptop. Bagel floated 400 feet over the valley, tethered by a fishing line spool anchored to Rowan's Subaru. On the screen, the ranch spread in ghostly monochrome. Nothing moved except sprinklers. Midnight rolled in. Suddenly, headlights snaked along a dirt track toward the livestock pens. A shadowed pickup, same model as Pike's, halted near the fence. 2 figures emerged, cut padlocks, and guided calves up a portable ramp into a horse trailer. Dogs barked in the distance, muzzled quickly. Rowan muttered, Gotcha. But they needed more than video of generic silhouettes. Jazz pointed. Look, behind them. A massive shape loomed above the trailer, a dirigible, slender and matte black, barely visible against the moonless sky. It hovered on whisper-quiet electric props, carrying 2 bright floodlights currently switched off. A winch cable dangled. Sage's breath hitched. They built their own airship to make everyone think aerial thieves exist. The dirigible dropped altitude, settling over the loaded trailer. Hooks clipped onto a harness. Motors thrummed, and the entire trailer lifted off the ground, dangling like a child's toy. Within seconds, the dirigible drifted north over the mesas. Rowan's jaw fell. That's how they leave no tire tracks. And make people blame the local balloon nut, Sage said, heart-pounding. Bagel's battery is 40%, Rowan warned. We can tail them, but we'll lose signal when they crest the cliffs. Sage made a decision. Emmett needs this now. Rowan emailed the live feed link to the sheriff. Jazz called dispatch, voice steady. Tell Emmett the cattle rustlers are flying a stealth blimp toward Dead Horse Canyon. 5 minutes later, Emmett's cruiser streaked past, lights dark, engine roaring. 2 state troopers followed. Sage's friends reeled in Bagel and raced behind the convoy. They arrived at Dead Horse Canyon overlook just as dawn pinkened the rim. The dirigible hovered near a rusted Quonset hut, an abandoned barreling facility from the uranium days. Sage spotted the dangling trailer lowered onto a concrete pad. Figures hurried to unhook cables. Sheriff Callahan raised his loudspeaker. This is Mesa County Sheriff's Office. You are surrounded. Shut down engines and step away. Chaos erupted. One figure sprinted for an ATV, another ducked inside the hut. The dirigible jerked upward, desperate to flee, but a rifle cracked. Sage gasped as Emmett fired a single shot into the blimp's tail thruster. The motor sputtered, the airship yawed, then settled onto the canyon floor like a deflated whale. Within minutes, deputies cuffed 3 crew members. Grant Pike emerged last, face ashen. "I want my lawyer," he snarled. Sage stood beside Emmett, heart racing. "Mind if I say something first?" The sheriff nodded. Sage addressed Pike. "You nearly killed my business and terrified half this valley, so your company could get cheap land. You forgot one thing." Pike sneered. "What's that?" "Hot air balloonists have friends who love sky gadgets even more than we do." Pike rolled his eyes, but Emmett guided him to a cruiser. Deputies coaxed frightened calves from the trailer, their bawls echoing canyon walls. Back in Palisade, word spread faster than peach jam. Jazz's Bakery offered Vindication Danish on special. Rowan's physics class streamed bagels footage as a lesson in buoyancy and ethics. Hank Cottonwood arrived at Sage's hangar with a homemade pie and a sheepish grin. "Sorry we doubted you," he said, scuffing his boots. "I'd like to book a family flight next month." Sage grinned. "First slice of that pie, and we'll call it even." A week later, Emmett hosted a community barbecue to celebrate the calves' return. The dirigible, confiscated and patched, served as a backdrop, roped down like a captured kraken. Kids took selfies with it, while parents sampled Cottonwood brisket. Sage found Emmett by the lemonade cooler. "You know," she teased, "you're pretty handy with a rifle." He chuckled. "I used to hunt elk before paperwork ate my weekends. More impressive is Rowan's balloon surveillance. I may recruit him." "Careful," she said. "Teachers' union might object." Emmett tipped his hat. "As for you, Ms. Donovan, your name's cleared. GPS forgery, property damage. Pike faces a heap of charges." "And my instruments?" she asked. "Recovered in the Quonset. Deputies are cataloguing everything." Relief washed through her. "Then Pas de Deux flies at sunrise tomorrow." Emmett smiled. "I booked a seat for my niece, her birthday." "I'll pack extra muffins." The next morning, Sage fired her burners in the peach-scented dawn. Pas de Deux stood tall again, envelope rippling gold in the early light. Rowan and Jazz waved from the chase van. Emmett's niece bounced inside the basket, wide-eyed. As they lifted off, Sage looked over the valley, orchards, ranches, winding Colorado River, and marveled at how close she'd come to losing this vista she loved. Wind tugged gently east. She adjusted the vent line, smiling. Some mysteries, it seemed, required leaving solid ground to solve. Up here, above suspicion and rumor, truth floated clear as mountain air.